guys, Reisshub back with another video, and in today's video I want to cover my 5 best tips for the FNCS trios starting this weekend. If you liked the video, please like the video, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing and using code Reisshub in the item shop. First tip is about WKeying. Do you need to WKey a game at all? I don't really think you need to for round 1. Remember the format. There's 3 qualifying weeks and there's 4 rounds in each one. Obviously depends on which region you're in terms of who is going to go where and what kind of placement you need. But for EU, NA East, NA West and Brazil, you need to come top 1500 in round 1 to get to round 2. I'm going to put a graphic on screen right now so you can see exactly what the qualification thresholds are. But for round 1, for example, so I'm going to look at the Cash Cup quickly just to kind of go through and compare. I know the games aren't going to be exactly relative because FNCS games can be a little bit more stacked, but it should roughly relate. It has the same eliminations to Victory Royale points and it has the same kind of top threshold. So if we look at top 1500, down on the right side you can see one game that's over 10 elims. This doesn't seem like a WKey game. 1 10 elimination game, 14 10, 15 13, 18 11, 11 and a 19. So this team WKeyed their first match but was incredibly inconsistent the games after that. 1 game, 1 large game, 14 17. They just had to need to catch up at the end. So you can see that a lot of these teams did have one big elimination game, but it wasn't like a massive 20-30 elimination game. Just seemed like somewhere within their tournament they had a big game, be it they ended up getting a lot of eliminations in the late game, mid game, but it doesn't seem like an overly aggressive hyper WKey kind of lobby. Now, if you're not capable of getting 15 to 20 eliminations, if your trio has never done that within Trio Arena before, or doesn't do that very consistently, it's definitely not a strategy I would go for at all. Just go and try to play consistent. Now, one of the things about this is the format does not really allow you to just WKey or just play placement. You do need to be able to pick up eliminations, so there is a nice balance between the two that you need to be able to get. However, at the same time, you don't need to hyper aggro WKey. It's still 25 placement points for that Victory Royale, with 1 point being for an elimination, so you need 25 elims to even equal that. So in all honesty, if you're behind, just getting a Victory Royale actually catches you up way more on the leaderboards than just getting a big WKey game would. So that leads me on to my next point, which is looking at the point format system and how to play it properly in each individual game. If you actually look at the format, it's pretty similar to what we've used previously, and in the top 17 is when you start to get placement points. In that top end though, it's extremely top heavy. So once you get into 3rd, this is where you start getting multiple points per placement, and 2nd and 1st in particular, that Victory Royale is worth a ton of points. So if you're playing for late game, you really need to be trying to stay alive as long as possible. So if you're in that top 5 situation, kind of top 6, nearing where you're about to get really big placement points, this is where you have to play extremely carefully. You do not want to be going for eliminations that you do not need at this point. An elimination point is 1. Plus, you may get the threshold above that, but it's so much easier just to take safe shots where you can and not make any risks at all, and just try and go for that top 3, top 2, and top 1. The difference, oh my god, the difference between coming 4th and coming 1st is 11 placement points, and then you add any eliminations you get onto that as well. So it's very, very critical that you try and land in that top 3 if you're already there. Now, this isn't such a useful tip if you're in 17th place alive, because obviously you're trying to go for that Victory Royale, you're trying to win every game possible, but once you're nearing that top 3 situation, you must be aware of this, and you need to play accordingly to that. So something that a lot of people might not be used to is the fact that there's actually 4 rounds in each of the qualifiers. Round 1 is open to all champions players, round 2 is the top 1500 in EU, NA West, NA East and Brazil, and in the smaller 3 other regions it's top 750. I can't remember all the thresholds going on, but then it's for EU in particular, it's 250 going to round 3, and then the top 33 go into round 4, and the round 4 is what equivalently people would call the finals. So very different, very difficult to play. And if you make it to round 4, what you need to know is that there's actually different format system as well. So for round 1, 2, and 3, the format is actually the same, what we've just talked about. But if you make it to round 4, the semi-finals, which used to be called the heats, and then the finals, which used to be called grand finals, so get your terminology correct. If you make it through to any of those stages, the format actually changes a bit, and it becomes a little bit more elimination heavy, with 2 elimination points and then 30 placement points total. So 15 eliminations equals a Victory Royale in comparison to 25, which is great. This has been a change you've been looking for a long time. However, what about rounds 1, 2, and 3? How are these going to differ from each other? The differences between rounds 1 and 2 will probably narrow down quite a lot because the average Champions League player actually just really is not that great, so you're going to cut out a lot of those when you get it just down to the top 1,500 teams in EU and the kind of bigger regions in particular. So once you make it through to round 2, you're going to have to play your game even more careful. You have to be aware that WKeying probably isn't going to be that plausible unless obviously you're a top, say, 100 team who's incredibly good at fighting. If you're on the lower end of that in the 1500s, you must play extremely consistently through your placement to get up, because if you try WKeying any random team, that could be a pro level team, that could be a top level team, and they could completely obliterate you and waste every single game. Rounds 2 and rounds 3 are actually on the same day, so there's an hour gap between the two, and what I would 100% recommend is that in that hour gap, you use that as a break. You should go outside, get some fresh air, stay away from the computer, get some food, get some rest, because playing 2 tournaments in a row like this is extremely tiring. You need to have a mental rest between these two. If you don't, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get frustrated moving into this third round. So please take a break. If you've made it through to round 3, I guarantee you, you will play better. And speaking of mentality, the qualifiers are 3 weeks long. There are 3 different opportunities for players to qualify through for the semis, and also you will still go through on consistency points just like as always. So if qualifier 1 does not go your way, you must look back into the games, figure out what you've done wrong. You have an entire week to fix it. Please just be open with each other, and ensuring that you guys are learning from your mistakes and actually improving on them week to week is huge. Now, let's be real, not everyone can qualify. There's only 33 slots available in that round 4. There's only 10 slots available to qualify through from that round 4. So not everyone will make it. What is really important though is that you guys are improving every single week. Don't just leave your team because you didn't do well. Find the mistakes, put in the time to fix them, and improve for next week. If you place 3000th in week 1 in round 1 and don't make it through to round 2, it might be really good for your skill level, and it might be really good for your team. You may have actually played very, very well, but just because you didn't qualify, don't let that put you down. Next week, try and improve over that time and see if you can get a better placement than 3000th. Even if you come 2500 or 2000th, you still improved over that week as a team. Like I said, you may not be a good enough team to make it through to those further rounds yet, but as long as you're putting in the work to actually improve week to week, that's what matters. And that's actually something that people should be doing in the cash cups, most importantly. You have a weekly cash cup coming on over and over again. Even if you play very bad in week 1, try and improve on that week 2. You're not always going to. Sometimes you can just have a bad day and you're going to be slightly worse, but as long as the general trend is up, that's what's really important, and that is what matters. Now, a lot of mid and lower level players usually play a lot of solo plays when they're playing as a team. In trios in particular, it's very, very easy if you get split up and just completely run away from your team, fight as a solo, get 1v3'd, get 1v2'd, things like this. It's very, very common to see teams just fight as solos, and this is one of the worst ways you can fight as a trio. There's 3 of you for a reason. You should be trying to single out opponents. And if this is you, if you guys are consistently getting outnumbered, you're getting split up, here's something I would recommend. Firstly, you can obviously practice in arena and realistic 3v3s, etc, etc. But the most simple and effective way to do this quickly is just to have a duo within your team. If you have one player who's the best fighter, you can allow this guy to kind of make plays and move around by himself, but the other 2 members of the team just stick together. Just stick right next to each other, always be attacking the same opponent, have one player on one wall, one on the other, and if one player moves up, the other one moves up. It's synergistic. Have it this way, and then the 3rd member of the team can take angles, do whatever he wants. This is a really good way just to ensure that the duo that's still alive here will be always sticking together, and if they make mistakes, they'll make mistakes together. It's fine, but at least you won't be making solo plays out of this. And the reason you put your best fighter along to do this kind of solo plays is because he has the ability to get out and kind of get back to your trio if you need to. This is just a small little tip that I really like to employ with a lot of kind of lower level teams, and myself in particular, because I'm a really bad trio fighter that I have very poor awareness, so I always follow someone and just try and help them out rather than going for my own solo plays and eliminations. And trust me, this will make your team fights so much easier. You will win so many more fights if you're constantly being able to stick together and consistently shoot the same people. If there's 2 of you and an opponent runs out on one of you, you pick up an elimination, now that fight is 3v2 instead. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a lot. I've been Reisshub. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really, really helps me out. Peace.